Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we are, of course, talking about the Buffalo Sabres and how they could be absolutely deadly upcoming this offseason, as it's going to start tonight because the Panthers are going to lose to the Vegas Golden Knights, sadly, but it is what it is. But the Buffalo Sabres are what we're talking about, and they had such a fun and exciting this year, just barely missing the playoffs, just being, well, I guess not barely, but being outside the playoffs. I think they were like the closest team to making it in besides the Pittsburgh Penguins. They were so close, but no cigar for them, and it was all led because of Tage Thompson, this 6'6" freak, emerging as a legitimate superstar in the NHL, a guy who's a huge giant but can move the puck like a wizard. This guy's fantastic. And then Jeff Skinner being a star again. Who knew? It wasn't that he's a sucky player. It's just that he needs a good team to play around with. Dylan Cousins becoming a true star. And so many young emerging talents. And Rasmus Dahlin finally really being that elite defenseman they drafted him for. Just everything finally coming together for the Sabres. But just some issues remained. And they can't get over the hump. They missed the playoffs. So now here we are in the offseason, and now it's time for them, in my opinion, to strike, because this is going to be huge for them. First up, they've got the 13th overall pick in this very deep NHL draft. I personally would say they need to draft a defenseman because Dahlin is great. Owen Power is going to be elite, I think. And I feel like they're missing that third guy. If they could have those three guys out there, because with up front, they have Thompson. He's still young enough. Dylan Cousins, they've got Savoie coming up. Jack Quinn's pretty good. They've got a lot of young talent coming up offensively. I think they could use a better second defenseman. Not a second defenseman, a third defenseman to really pad out that defense back there. So I don't know who that would be at that point, and who knows, 13th overall pick. Could be anyone at that point. I'm not going to speculate on who, but I would say the best defenseman out there at the time for them to pick up is who they should draft. Next, great prospects, as I just said. They've got some amazing guys coming up. My pick, I'm sure everyone, I'm sure if you know anything too, I would say that Matthew Savoie would be my favorite of their prospect pool. He's just got the name and the look that really shouts like this. He's going to be a star, and I think he will be. So Savoie coming up, probably not this year. I would say next year he would make the team. And they only have 4 RFAs or UFAs in total combined to sign this offseason. They have 21 out of 23 roster spots already filled. They only need 2 more players. And of the RFAs, it's just guys like no one cares about other than Tyson Jost will probably get paid. I would speculate probably like $4 million just because Tyson Jost, that kind of rubs me as the type of number he would get, even though I probably wouldn't pay him that, but whatever. So Tyson Jost probably going to get paid good enough money, and before all that happens, though, they have still $17 million to spend on 2 players at least. Tyson Jost, like I said, I would say probably $3 to $4 million. So let's just knock that down, that number to, let's just say around 14. $14 million to play with after they probably re-sign Tyson Jost. And I think this is a huge and amazing opportunity for them to go from that amazing, exciting season last year that they had and go just keep building upon that and build such an exciting, even better team than they were last year to really land on the spot and make it into the playoffs. Because I think this team, if they made it into the playoffs, would be like I think this team would be amazing in the playoffs. They have the size of Alex Tuch and Cousins and Tage Thompson, and they have the skill to be good. I wouldn't be surprised if they were like another like Panthers, or even, I don't even know who I would like compare them to. They've kind of got their own skill where they got the size and the talent on their side. So I really I gotta be honest, I'm a big fan of the Sabres. They really won me over last year. I'm not a bandwagon fan, but just Tage Thompson, and they're so fun to watch. They're just such an exciting team. And for me, they need to pounce on this. And my pick would be, of course, last year, the biggest issue was goaltending. I mean, Craig Anderson in net just wasn't really anything that special, and that's been their biggest issue for a little while now, right? And now they have Devin Levi. And Devin Levi will be absolutely fantastic. But I think, and I'm sure you've already seen it on the whiteboard by now, that they need to go out there and sign Connor Hellebuck. Or not sign, trade for him, right? He's got 1 year left. So, and forgot to mention this, is that the Buffalo Sabres this year have $17 million to play with. Next year's will be a different story. I think they had 10 free agents, and a lot of them being RFAs, and guys like Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power, Casey Middlestat. They're going to have to re-sign these guys, so next year that money's going to go away. So this year, I say play around with that free space you have. Have those guys on lower contracts, have a good year, and bring in some guys to pad out the team, because you can really do that with this extra money that you have until you have to spend it all on those guys next year. So this year, I think they pounce. I don't think they sit back, and I'm sure what will probably happen, because this is just how life is, that the GMs will sit on their hands and be like, whatever, we're not going to do anything, we got to sign him next year. I'm sure that's probably what will happen, and I don't want to see that. I think they should use the $17 million that before they need to spend it on those guys, go after a guy like Connor Hellebuck, who's been consistently so good over his career. He's not one of these goaltenders who, goes back and forth and is like, blah, 1 year and he's okay the next year. Sure, Connor Hellebuck in the playoffs didn't look that good, and at times he does kind of let in some pretty lame goals, but he's been such a close Vezina candidate. I'm not actually sure if he's won it. I don't think he has, but he's come very close. I at least know that for sure. And I think with 1 year left at only $6 million, would be a perfect fit to put him in net, and Devin Levi, where Devin, he's not good enough yet, right? He doesn't have the experience. He's just got off. He's in the offseason. He needs to develop. And goaltenders, they never are that good when they're young, right? It always takes time for them to grow and turn into those star goaltenders, and I think with him, this would be a perfect moment for them to be like, hey, Devin, you're going to be the number 2 goaltender as you grow and develop in practice, and be the number 2 behind Connor Hellebuck. Hellebuck will play his season here. He'll be great. He'll have amazing looking pads. We're going to go out there and be an electric team. He's going to play 60 games in the season. You can pick up the last 22 games, and you're going to get some good times in net. Maybe if you impress a little bit more, maybe we'll give you 25 games, but it'll be Connor's net, and then next year you get to be the number 1 guy, and we'll go from there. And I think that's what they should do. I think it just writes itself. Hellebuck being that just amazing goalie. They've got good defense, and that's the next thing I want to address as well, is defensively, I think they need to pick up at least one more good defenseman. I'd say 2, but I don't really know who they could really go after. I mean, in free agency, guys like Shane Gostisbehere are coming up, but I don't really know if Shane is... I don't really see him fitting the squad, to be honest. So I don't think they should go for Shane Gostisbehere. I think the Blues guys, I know the Blues players, defensemen, that blue line is up for grabs, kind of, but I think the only real guy that would fit on this team would be Colton Parayko, but with his contract, that's definitely not going to work with the Sabres situation here, so I don't think Parayko would work. Tony DeAngelo's out there, but I also don't see this team picking him up, so I'm not sure who, and I've been thinking Matt Grishalik or go for Dmitry Orlov in free agency. I think those 2 guys would be the best picks for me. Matt Grishalik or Orlov, 2 guys that can create offense while also being pretty good defenders, I think would be perfect to have all 60 minutes on the ice. If they could have Dahlin on the ice and then Owen Power on the ice and then have Orlov or Grishalik on the ice, all 60 minutes would be fantastic for the Sabres. So I'd say one of them... I'd say Orlov or Grishalik. That would be my pick. So Grishalik, Orlov, one of those 2 guys. Who knows? Maybe even both. They've got the cap space to fit them. And Connor Hellebuck. So you've got a better defensive squad. You get Connor Hellebuck, amazing goaltender for 1 more year. And for my last pick here, third thing they need to do, I think they should try to build upon that electricity with Tage Thompson and reward them with a solid guy in the fit up top or pad the offense. Now, this is where I'm kind of mixed on where they go from here. Because for me, they've got a lot of good young prospects, right? Isaac Rosen's coming up. I think he could make the squad. I think they just need to pad the offense. I think up front, all the way at the top of the lineup, Skinner, Thompson, and Tuck. I don't really see they need to fit in a guy like Patrick Kane, even though he's from Buffalo, so maybe you could try to do something there, but I think Kane would want to play somewhere for 3 years and probably at least $5 million. I don't really think that'd help the Sabres next season. That would work, so I think Kane would be cool for 1 year, but I don't think he's going to sign for 1 year, and I don't think they should really bank on him. But so I don't know. I would think Kane's a good idea, but I just can't convince myself of it. Tarasenko would be cool, but once again, the term, I think he'd be looking for at least $6-7 million to finish out his career, probably at least 5, at bare minimum 5. And I just don't think the Sabres fitting in that $5 million with those 10 contracts of RFAs that they need to re-sign next year is going to really help them. So I think they'd steer clear of that. So really, I think they need to pad the offense down below. Those bottom 6 guys, if they can find some good... Now, their prospects coming up like Rosen, maybe he fits in. He's fast or something, could fit in the lineup well. I don't know. Find some of those guys like Keegan Colasar, William Carrier, Nicholas Waugh, those type of players that Vegas has. Find them, put them on this team, and make a better squad altogether. Somehow pad the offense. But overall, I just think this team's going to be exciting this year. Because once you create that, and I think they're right there. I think they're right there for the taking. Goaltending was their biggest issue. So Hellebuck would be my pick. Other than him, I don't really know what other teams really selling their goalies. I know like Mackenzie Blackwood's probably for sale, but I don't think Mackenzie Blackwood's going to really solve their issue. I think going out there, perfect situation, 1 year for $6 million for Connor Hellebuck is a perfect fit for this squad to help Devin Levi. I mean, who knows? Maybe Devin Levi is already a star goaltender. They wouldn't even need it. I have no idea, but I don't think so. I wouldn't bet on it. Goalies, and especially any player, but especially goalies, are never really ready when they start their career. I mean, Andrei Vasilevsky was a backup to Ben Bishop, and then he finally took over the net. Like, it takes some time for these guys to grow, right? And goaltenders, especially this year, I don't really think Devin Levi is going to help them. I think Hellebuck for the 1 year, give them that good goaltending and create that winning atmosphere, that winning, exciting atmosphere, and you make the playoffs. I see this team winning the first round if they made it in. If they're in the Atlantic Division, they make it in, they play against a team. Maybe they get fortunate and play against a Bruins squad, which looks like they're going to be in a lot of trouble this upcoming season. Maybe they play against the Lightning and they start running into potholes toward the end of the season. Their tires are deflating. They beat them again, and then they get screwed over by Toronto or something. I don't know. I think this team would win the first round of whatever round they got into. I don't know why, just rubbed me that way. And just they're exciting, and then that allows you, so Hellebuck goes on his own way next season, allows Devin Levi to take over the net. Owen Power is going to be better in the next year. Really, I think you just keep the ball rolling. The ball's already coming down the hill, and now adding some grease to the ground and making the ball speed up faster going down the hill for next year, where guys like Matt Savard will jump up. Jack Quinn will probably be a superstar player at that point, right? Owen Power will be a legitimate top 4 defenseman. I think you really build up for those upcoming years. Whoever you draft this 13th overall pick in this deep draft could be NHL ready next year. I think this year is your perfect chance to have a free $17 million to play with. Bring in some good players, a good goaltender for 1 year, and next year when those guys, young guys, are ready to go, they start kicking, and I just really like it. I think it's a perfect situation for Buffalo. I love to see it. I think they should take advantage of it. And because this is how life works, they probably won't, and it'll be a shame. But really, if they do, I'm excited for it, and I'm all in to see it. And that is all I got to say. So thank you for watching this. If you've made it this far, please, I'm begging you, pick up your free subscription. And until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.